Review of the Russian cruiser Aurora. Aurora is a Russian protected cruiser, currently preserved as a museum ship in St. Petersburg. Aurora was one of 3 Paleta-class cruisers, built in St. Petersburg for service in the Pacific. All 3 ships of this class served during the Russo-Japanese War. Aurora survived the Battle of Tsushima and was interned under U.S. protection in the Philippines, and eventually returned to the Baltic Fleet. One of the first incidents of the October Revolution in Russia took place on the cruiser Aurora, which reportedly fired the first shot, signaling the beginning of the attack on the Winter Palace. Russo-Japanese War. Soon after completion, on October 10, 1903, Aurora departed Kronstadt as part of Admiral Verenius's reinforcing squadron for Port Arthur. While in the Red Sea, still en route to Port Arthur, the squadron was recalled back to the Baltic Sea, under protest by Admiral Makarov, who specifically requested Admiral Verenius to continue his mission to Port Arthur. Only the 7 destroyers of the reinforcing squadron were allowed to continue to the Far East. After her detachment from the reinforcing squadron and her arrival back to home port, she underwent new refitting. After refitting, Aurora was ordered back to Port Arthur as part of the Russian Baltic Fleet. Aurora sailed as part of Admiral Oscar Enqvist's cruiser squadron, whose flagship would be the protected cruiser Oleg, an element of Admiral Zinovy Rozhestvenskai's Baltic Fleet. On the way to the Far East, Aurora received 5 hits, sustaining light damage from confused friendly fire, which killed the ship's chaplain and a sailor, in the Dogger Bank incident. October Revolution mutiny. During World War I, Aurora operated in the Baltic Sea, performing patrols and shore bombardment tasks. In 1915, her armament was changed to 14 152mm 6-in guns. The ship's commanding officer, Captain Mikhail Nikolsky, was killed when he tried to suppress the revolt. Second World War. In 1922, Aurora returned to service as a training ship. During the Second World War, her guns were taken from the ship and used in the land defense of Leningrad. The ship herself was docked in Oranienbong port, and was repeatedly shelled and bombed. On September 30, 1941, she was damaged and sunk in the harbor. She was later salvaged and repaired after the war. Post-World War II. The ship was opened as a museum ship in Leningrad in 1957, as a monument to the October Revolution. After having served as a museum ship for 27 years, from 1984 to 1987, the cruiser was once again placed in her construction yard, the Admiralty Shipyard, for capital restoration. During the overhaul, due to deterioration, the ship's hull below the waterline was replaced with a new welded hull according to the original drawings. The cut-off lower hull section was towed into the Gulf of Finland to the decommissioned Ruchi Naval Base RU, and sunk near the shore. The restoration revealed that some of the ship's parts, including the armor plates, were originally made in Britain. In January 2013, Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu announced plans to recommission Aurora and make her the flagship of the Russian Navy due to her historical and cultural importance. On September 21, 2014, the ship was towed to the Admiralty Shipyard in Kronstadt to be overhauled, to return in 2016. On July 16, 2016, she returned to her home harbor in St. Petersburg. In popular culture, the 1965 Soviet film The Salvos of the Aurora cruiser shows the ship's action in the October Revolution. Perhaps the most famous ship in Russian history, the Aurora saw action in World War I. However, its most historic role came during the Bolshevik Revolution, when it fired a shot that signaled the start of the storming of the Winter Palace. That's the review of the Russian cruiser Aurora. Don't forget to also visit the source website of the article that I have listed in the description column. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Hopefully useful.